Good morning. Right, welcome back to another one of my videos. Sean's Auto Repairs now in Grimsby, not in Ramsgate, as I was going to say before. We're up in sunny, or not so sunny as it is today, in Lincolnshire. So today in the garage, first video I've done probably in about 6 months since we moved, is a 2020, no not 2020, what am I talking about? It's a Mercedes 220 CDI 2009. And it's been brought to me with a popped injector. The history on this car is it's obviously had a injector repair before. The 6mm stretch bolt has broken and someone's replaced it with an 8mm, so they've retapped it and put an 8mm bolt in to hold the injector down, and that has subsequently stripped again and popped the injector out, and now it's like a puffing billy, like a steam train. So let's go out and I'll show you what we got. It's a 2009 Mercedes 220 CDI. Let me just start it for you and then I'll show you what the problem's going to be, if it will start. As you can see, hang on, they're going to start at the moment. Let's try again. It's trying. There we go. Right. As you can hear, it sounds like a puffing billy. Debris from the storm units last night. Right, so this is what we've got. This is the injector that's popped out. As I say, that bolt down there has stripped and it just spins around and does nothing. So the first thing we've got to do, as you can see, I've already taken the engine cover and stuff off. We need to get a good dose of brake cleaner and we need to clean everything off of here, so we can strip this pipe off and then remove that bolt and then take that injector out. Then what we need to do is to clean the injector up, clean the seating up, cut a new seat and then reinstall it with a new injector seal. So let's get cleaning. Right, welcome back. It's been about 4 days since I made my last clip. It's been raining solidly. We've had about 3 or 4 storms pass through the area. So let's crack on with the cleaning and I'll show you what we've got to do. As you can see, it is still raining, but nevertheless we'll crack on. So this is all the black carbon that's built up over the top of the head, and with the pick you can pick big lumps of this stuff off. Everywhere's coated in and stuff. So what I've got to do, I will scrape what I can off with the pick and then hoover that out, and then it'll be a case of going over it with the brake cleaner and cleaning it all off. So when I've done that, I will be back. Right, it's about an hour or so later, and as you can see, I've cleaned all the big chunks away. And as you can also see, that each securing bolt, they're all different. So it's always had a few repairs in the past. So now we've got rid of all the chunky bits. Now is to get the brake cleaner out, to go over with the brake cleaner and clean the rest off. So when I've done that, I'll be back. And now once again it's lashing down. So I've got to stop again. I think it's setting now for the afternoon. So we'll be back presently. Well, I've done a little bit more cleaning, and as usual I've jumped ahead without filming. So as you can see, I've taken the injector out. All that involved was taking off these bleed off pipes with a little clip here, taking off the wiring plug, and then the pipe that goes across from the pressure rail to the injector is a 17mm both ends. So that came out pretty easily. And if you can, I don't know if you can see down in the hole there. Let me zoom you in a bit. Actually, in the hole, it isn't in the bore, isn't too bad. It's had all that diesel blowing past it. That's the bolt that came out of it. Still got some of the aluminium threads in the top there. That's the hold down clamp. I took the injector out with the pipe because I couldn't get the pipe off. But, as you can see, that needs a good clean. And the copper ring, I managed to fish the copper ring out, and that's what's left of the copper ring. That's supposed to be round. So obviously when it came up the first time, the ring has gone sideways, and then when I push the injector down again, it's chomped through it. But, so now we can see more what we're doing. Bit more cleaning all that crap off around that spigot out there, clean that thread out, clean all around this area here, and clean out what's left in the hole, and then I'll bring it back. Right, it's some time later, and as you can see, all around the affected injector, I've cleaned it all off as best I can. I've cleaned out the bore. I don't know whether you can see down there. So let's zoom you in a bit for that one. See, the bore's all nice and clean. It just wants the seat recutting on the bottom there. And the thread, where are we? The thread's down there. Now what it looks like to me is some light down there. Don't know whether you can see that, but it looks like the bolt snapped off and someone has just re-tapped into the top of the aluminium and into the top of the rocker cover. So what I'll do, I think I'll stick the bore scope down there and I'll give you a picture of that. Right, there's the edge of the threads. See, they're all pretty mullered down there. can't put this endoscope too close because it goes out of focus. You put it down the hole. The focus length is about, I think it's about 3 centimeters. Lift at the bottom. I think that's as far as they drilled last time. Right, so while I ponder on how to tap this hole and make the thread good again, I'll just show you the bits I've cleaned up. That's the bolt. Now you can see where the hole wasn't deep enough, they've actually shaved some of the bottom threads off, so it'll go deeper into the hole. It's very strange. That's the hold down clamp. Those marks are just from where I knocked it down before. So, the injector pipe all nice and clean off the injector. I put the injector in the vise to get the pipe off, and the injector itself all nicely clean, ready for reassembly. Let's just have a look at this one. Right, so this is the hold down clamp that holds the injector down. Bearing in mind that the original bolt is a 6mm bolt, where this is an 8mm bolt, and the 6mm bolt is usually about 4 or 5 inches long, I would imagine, and it's been snapped off, so they've put this 8mm in. Now when the 6mm goes through the clamp, it has to pivot. It has to pivot like that, because on one side you've got a fixed point, and then you've got the injector which sits in here, so this has to pivot so it clamps down onto the injector to hold the injector tight. Now with a 6mm bolt in there, it will give it enough slack in that slot to pivot, but with this bolt, the one that's stripped out, it is a tight fit in here as it is. You literally have to screw it into the end, and at the moment there is very little slack in that, so once that if that tightens down straight, it's not going to give it enough room to pivot properly. So ideally what we need to do, we need to make this hole either slightly larger or elongate it to give it a bit of pivot, you know, enough space to pivot. So this is hardened steel. So what I'm going to try and do initially is elongate it out with a drill to give it more pivot room. So let's do that. Let's go for that and see what happens. Right, so looking at this bolt, it's not an 8mm as I said before. It's actually a 10mm. This is an 8mm stud, and you can see the difference there. So if we put a 10mm nut on it, 10mm nut spins on it nice and easily. So to drill that hole out, we're going to need a 10mm drill. Right. So as you can see, that's an 8mm drill. An 8mm drill just falls loosely into the hole. But a 10mm drill is tight in the hole. So we're going to drill it out with this 10mm if we can, and try and make the hole a bit bigger. Alright, let's see how we go. I've shut the garage door to stop the glare. do the torque up a bit. Bit of side to side movement to elongate the hole. Let's see what we got now. That's a bit better. So now let's just turn the camera around a bit. So now you can see we've got a lot more pivot play. The bolt slips in nicely and it allows a bit more pivot. So all we've done is we've just elongated the hole a little bit with the drill to give it more clamping power. So if you imagine that it sits up like that, and as it tightens down it pivots. So hopefully that will be more. It'll be better than it was before anyway. So let's move on to the car. Right, so I've made a little test piece up here because I've measured it on the car, and it looks like the clamp sits pretty straight when it's on the car, and the little stud that the round piece sits on is about 8mm high. So I've stacked up a cut little nuts about 8mm high. So that sits on there like that. So when it's clamped down, it should be about sort of that sort of angle. And let's just tighten that up a bit more. And I've drilled and I've put a helicoil in this bit of test material here, so we can position that under there, and we can put this bolt in, and screw that down. Because what I want to see is when that is flat, I mean that is about flat there, so that is the clamping force. So that will sit on the injector, and as you clamp that down, hang on, let's just put me nuts back under there. Oh. It's a bit Heath Robinson, but it does the job. There we go. So as you clamp down, it pivots on this point here, and then puts all the clamping force on the injector. So what I wanted to do is to check that when this is sitting flush, and we've still got some pivot room. So if we go down a little touch more, so there, I wanted to see how much of that bolt sticks out the bottom of the helicoil. So let me put you back in the stand. Right, so if we take it out of the stand, out of the vise, we can see when we turn it over, we can see that we've got about 2 threads coming from the helicoil. The helicoil sticks out about 3mm, so there'd be no point stacking 2 helicoils because there just wouldn't be the room. So 1 helicoil will have to suffice. So let's go and see what it looks like on the car. Okay, so I've been out to the car and I've measured on the car. I've measured the distance from the top of the clamp to the plastic rocker cover, and it is about 12 millimeters. So on my little setup here, I've arranged that so that is 12, about 12 mil off the deck. So this deck here will be the plastic rocker cover. Now the rocker cover is 5 mil thick, and the insert is a total of, I think, what did I say, 15, about 15. So 15 plus, if I say, it's 20 mil, so the insert has to go down 20 mil if we want it into the aluminium. So if we set the calipers to 20 mil, so 20 mil from the plastic, so that insert has to go down just to where they've started cutting it out. So the insert is going to go into that piece of aluminium which isn't tapped. Right, so the long and short of it is we need to drill a total of at least 20 mil from the top. So that allows 20 mil, so that's 5 mil for the plastic, and then 15 mil into the aluminium for the insert. So let's go to the car and have a look. So this is the helicoil set that we'll be using. We've got 12 mil, 10 mil, 8, 6 and 5, I believe. So these are the ones we'll be using. This is the one I used on the test piece the other day. If we get one of these out, that's the helicoil. Now it starts off, at about 8-9 mil, but by the time you threaded it into the metal, it goes to about 15, so it does stretch out a little bit. Yeah, see, it gains quite a few millimeters once it's threaded in. So this is the drill that the tap-in size, and what we're going to do is, let me just measure that a second. Okay, so this drill they give you to drill ready for the tap is just over 10 mil. So what we're going to do, we're going to drill down first of all with the 10 mil drill to clean the hole out, and we're going to put a little mark on here for 20 mil, so we don't drill down too far, or we'll drill down enough, and then we'll have a look then. Okay, so I've marked the drill. That is at 22 mil depth, so that gives us 2 mil to play with, because the tap doesn't quite go down that far. Let me measure that. Oh, hang on, let me just bear in a second. Okay, a bit of a revision now. I've now changed the depth of that drill to 28 mil, because this has about a 5 mil leading edge which doesn't have any threads, so if it bottomed out at 22 mil, the insert wouldn't go all the way down. So I'll give it 28 mil now, which is basically the length of that thread on that tap. So if we tap it all the way down, so the top of the thread there is level with the plastic, that'll give us 5 mil in the plastic, and then the insert will have 15 mil down to about here, and then we should be good. Alright, so let's go to the car. Right, I've put some tissue paper down in the injector hole. Here we have with the drill. Right, let's drill out this 28mm depth and see how we go with this. We're on hammer drill, we don't want hammer drill. Get the air nozzle. Right, so that's our hole. Let's clear all that swarf away. Right, we'll get a light and we'll have a look down the hole. Right, so if we shine a light down there, you can see what I actually went over the 20, what did I say, 27, 28mm mark by about 5mm, so it's probably about 30, 32mm now, a bit deeper than what we need. I think the light. Gravity wins again. Right, let's just zoom in. It's a job to see down there, but we're about, I would say, about 5 or 6mm from where the previous, well, from where the original 6mm bolt snapped off. Hang on, let me get a better light. There, you can see there. You can just see where the old bolt, the original 6mm bolt, has sheared off at the bottom there. So we're about 5-6mm away from that. So let's get the tapping drill, the drill needed for the tap, and we'll drill that. Alright, now we have the correct size drill in the drill. And I've put some rough markings on there for the depth. So let's drill this one out. I'm ready for the tap. Lovely. Right, let's just blow some air through that. Noise alert, because the compressor will probably come back on. there we have, sorry about the compressor noise, our drilled out hole ready for the tap. So let's go and get that started. Right, so because of the location of where we're tapping down in that gully, we can't use a standard tap wrench because the arms come out sideways obviously, and there'll be no room to turn it. So what we've had to do is I've got a square end on my 1/4 inch drive that will go on there, and then we'll wind it down with that. So let's see how it goes. I hope that gives you a bit of a better view. That is where we're going to be tapping down. Try and keep that straight. First of all, we're going to go through the plastic. Go back to the forwards to break the chips off. Aluminium is quite soft, so you can normally just go straight through, but zoom in. Let's have some light down there. As you can see, let's focus on where's the hole. There it is. The threads go right down to within a few mil of the bottom, but we've drilled extra length. So let's see if we can put the insert in. Right, so the insert, let's zoom out again, is put in with this tool, and that slots over the end of that. And then with gentle downward pressure, you wind that into the hole. So we need to wind that down, so that's 5 mil below the surface, flush with the aluminium. So let's see how this goes. So the insert is, let me just get a pointing device. Oh, so now you can see that the insert is down to here. So this bit here is the plastic cover, and then the insert is in the aluminium. So let's go and get our bolt and see whether it fits. Before we do that, what we need to do is, in the bottom of that insert is a tang. So we need to use this tool just to knock that tang off. So I'll do that and I'll be back. Right, so here's our bolt that we're going to use. And that screws nicely into there, and there should be plenty of depth for that. Let's take that out. So the next step now is to get the seat cutting tool and cut the seat of the injector, and then it's all ready for reassembly. Right, so cutting these injector seats involves a set of cutters. The one we're using is a straight 17mm flat, and that goes down the bore, and you get a nice soft pressure, and it just cuts a nice flat surface on the bottom of the aluminium. And that is used with the T-handle. So let's go and sort that out. Alright, so we insert that down the hole. And some nice soft turns. Not too much because they are quite sharp. get a light. Right, now as you can see, the seat is nice and shiny all the way around, nicely cut, apart from a little bit on the inside, which won't really matter. So now we can put the injector back in. Right, so we've a nice new ring on there. Let's go and install this back in the engine. There's the clamp on there. Right, let's just pinch that up. Right, so here we are, it's all fully installed again. Bleed off pipes are on, wiring connectors on. Pipe was a bit of a nightmare to fit because it was a bit out of shape, but it's all on there. Let's give it a crank and see what it does. Right, as you can hear, number 2 is all good, but number 3 is leaking. And so is number 1. Okay, a bit of a disappointing end to that one at the moment. Number 2, the injector that popped out has been repaired and is all okay. But now we find that number 1 and number 3 need doing, so we're going to follow the same process to do those two. I would imagine that all 4 injector hold down bolts have probably been broken, and they've all been bodged and repaired the same way, which is probably why the previous owner got rid of the car quick. So I'm going to publish this video and then I'll bring you back an update when I get the other 2 done, if I get the go ahead from the customer, which I'm sure I will do. So obviously we've got so far and he does want to keep the car, so yeah, so I'll bring you back in an update video very shortly.